Hello everybody, my name is Altamush Khan and I'm known as Attish and I'm a top-rated Fiverr seller. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can start a freelancing career or how you can become a freelancer, and hopefully I will share whatever I know and how I started my career as a freelancer, and hopefully by the end you will get an idea of what you should do if you also want to become a freelancer. So before we begin, you have to ask yourself why you want to become a freelancer. Either you do not like to work 9 to 5, you don't want to work under somebody, you don't want to be told what to do, or you simply want to work at your own pace. Whatever the case is, you need to decide first why you want to become a freelancer and know whether it's worth it or not. If you like the idea of starting your own business and you like the idea of running a business, then yes, you can or you should become a freelancer because you are essentially a businessman. You are a business owner as soon as you become a freelancer. If you like that idea, you should immediately start thinking about becoming a freelancer. So I have a presentation ready which will give you an idea of what you should ask yourself, what you should do, and how you can start freelancing. So please let us start the presentation, if possible. So the first thing is that you should not try to become a freelancer or just become a freelancer for the sake of, oh, my friend is a freelancer and he's earning well, so I should also start freelancing. You should first take a look at what service is in demand. That's the first thing that you should know about. So even though you can sell basically any skill, which means if you're an engineer, an accountant, a developer, a game developer, a web developer, you can sell that skill. You can sell any skill, but to make a good living, you need to take a look at the most valuable skills and what is in demand. You will not succeed. You should always focus on learning skills or developing skills that are in demand. Before becoming a freelancer, take a look at what is in demand. That's the first thing. The old saying goes, if you want to become a billionaire, solve a problem that is worth $1 billion. Keep that in mind. So if you are a game developer, you're solving maybe a $5,000 to $10,000 problem, and each project will be worth somewhere between that. So it really depends. If you're a writer, you may be earning $5 for 100 words. Depends on your skill. Take a look at what problem you want to solve, what service you will provide. And if that solution is valuable, you will be paid accordingly. You may need to learn a variety of different skills. Now, as a freelancer, do not rely on a single skill. You should have a variety of different skills. Find out what will work for you. You may even be forced to perform tasks that you seriously dislike. I'll share an example. A friend of mine was a front-end developer, which means he used to create websites, but only what you see, what the user sees. But as a freelancer, to earn more than $1,000, he also had to learn the back end, which is when you log into Facebook, your credentials and your password is sent to a server, and that server tells Facebook that yes, this data was valid, so let the user log in. He had to learn that, and he absolutely hated it. But the reason why he did that is because he wanted to take his earning from $1,000 per month to $5,000 per month. And he did things that he disliked. He learned the back end, how things work on the back end as well. So as a freelancer, you cannot only do what you like. You have to sometimes do things that you seriously dislike if you're serious about making a good living. So that is something that you need to tell yourself. You will not always be doing things that you like. So I've already given the example of a front-end developer that you see over here, for example, front-end developers. You may have to forget about what you like or want to do and focus on acquiring skills that are in demand and can help you become successful in providing valuable solutions. So this is, I don't really need to explain this. You just have to look at what is valuable. And so maybe you will like it, maybe you will not, but in order to earn well, you need to only focus on the things that are valuable in the marketplace. Next slide, please. Either learn what other freelancers are doing or find out yourself what are the most in-demand services. So most platforms such as Fiverr, Upwork, Guru, freelancer.com, even People Per Hour, they usually release articles, and you will find articles on the internet that will give you an idea of what services are in demand. Or if you have friends or someone you know who is a freelancer, they can tell you, if they want to, that is, how much they're earning, and if they are clients themselves, like I'm a client too, and I hire freelancers as well, I can get an idea of what services are in demand on which platform. But you can find articles on the internet that will tell you what services are in demand and what services work on a specific platform. For example, on Fiverr, during the NFT boom and the NFT and cryptocurrency boom, Fiverr.com had a lot of service providers that were providing NFT marketplace services. So that was the most in-demand service at that time, and people were easily earning up to $50,000 per month just because they figured out that NFT marketplaces will be in demand. Focus on categories that have a very high barrier of entry. That means you should not focus, or you should not be looking at just to become a writer or just a person that anybody can be that person. The skill that you acquire should have a very high barrier of entry, which means not everybody can do it, or you will need special equipment for that. For example, if you want to be a 3D modeler, you should also go into 3D rendering, which is not, everybody cannot do 3D rendering because you need a very powerful computer, which means the barrier of entry is having a powerful computer, which may cost up to $5,000 to make that computer. Now, not everybody will be able to afford that. So if you offer rendering services as well, and if you are an animator, the barrier of entry is slightly higher. What I'm trying to say is that don't try to acquire a skill which anybody can acquire and just start selling it, because then you will be against a lot of people and they will be providing the same service as you, and you will really not be able to get as many clients as you can if there are a large number of people providing that service. Focus on category services that are extremely difficult to master. So programming, for programmers, you will find many programmers on Upwork, Fiverr, Guru. However, there are only a few people over there that are masters at what they do. And people, generally speaking, clients generally speaking, will prefer a master to solve their problem than a person who will provide them a run-of-the-mill solution. Which this is in the second point, this is what I was talking about, which is run-of-the-mill solution, a solution that anybody can provide. So you should always try to acquire a skill. Okay, you'll learn it, but to master it, you will need to work really hard. And clients will prefer masters over people who can just provide a solution off the internet, just copy paste that or do something similar. Try to keep a close eye on the market trends and be the first one to offer a solution based on those trends. So I was talking about NFT marketplaces. During the NFT boom and the cryptocurrency boom, these services you found on Upwork and on Fiverr.com, there were many services that were offering NFT marketplaces and cryptocurrency websites. Even there were many developers who were making cryptocurrencies and tokens. So this was a market trend. People saw it and people earned thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars because they were the first one to offer that. Next slide, please. You need to learn how to be a good salesman and enjoy closing deals. So you cannot become a freelancer if you're not a good salesman. If you do not like the idea of selling your skills or wanting to sell your skills, don't ever think about freelancing. In fact, I think that learning how to sell is probably the most important skill. The most important, because even if you are a master at at something. If you do not know how to sell, you will not be able to make a good living. I mean, people will come to you. If you do not know how to sell your services for a good price, you may end up taking a project that is worth $5,000 for $1,000 if you do not know how to sell well. You should always know how to sell your skill, and this is the most important skill, the most important. Even if you are average at what you do, if you're a good salesman, you might be making more than what a master is who is not a good salesman. This is probably the most important skill you need as a freelancer. You must know how to sell your skill services at a high value and establish yourself as a remarkable solution provider. So your client needs to, basically he needs to talk to you. When he talks to you, he should say, this guy is the perfect solution provider. Even if you're not, you have to sell yourself that way. You have to learn that skill. Learn the various tactics that skilled salespeople use to close deals before even thinking about freelancing. I've told this to you. Before you think about freelancing, learn how to sell. You should be able to sell anything. Basically, when you can sell anything, you know how to sell anything, then is the time you can think about freelancing, not before that. You should be able to demonstrate your skills to a potential client by asking intelligent questions. Now, asking intelligent questions mean that you're talking to a client. The client says, I want this. You say, okay, why do you want this? What is the purpose? What are you trying to achieve? When you ask these questions, essentially, you're telling the client, I'm taking interest in solving your problem. That is the thing that the client needs to know. He needs to be convinced. The client needs to be convinced that you are interested in getting the work done and you want to give them the solution. You have to ask those kind of questions that will lead to a possible solution. This is actually the best way to close a deal, as the client may believe you are the right person for the job if you ask the right questions. Next slide. The client needs you more than you need the client. Now that surprises a lot of people. The client needs me, I don't need the client. Well, that is true. It is very difficult to find good people on online marketplaces. Extremely difficult. The client needs you more than you need the client. Keep that in mind. Why? I'll explain. It is extremely difficult to find good freelancers that provide good quality solutions. Let's come back to the point. Run-of-the-mill solutions. WordPress websites, relatively easy to make. But if a client wants a customized solution, you need to know how to make a website from scratch using the latest technologies. That is the problem. There are people that offer run-of-the-mill solutions which person XYZ can provide, but finding good freelancers that are committed to getting work done and also communicate effectively are difficult to find. I, as a client, can tell you I had to literally force the people that I hired to work on the things that they're being paid to do. So I found it difficult as a client to get work done because they were not communicating. Sometimes they wouldn't reply for 3 days. Then they would give me something that I did not want, I did not ask for. So it is extremely difficult to find good freelancers. And this is the thing, the client needs you more than you need the client means that if you prove to the client that you are the best person and you work well, they need you, they will be after you, they'll cling on to you, they'll not let you go because they're difficult to find. And most clients that you will meet in the world will tell you it's difficult to find clients. It's difficult to find freelancers that can work consistently and effectively. Most clients that are serious about getting work done prioritize effective communication. Effective communication, key point, effective communication, above everything else, and may hire you for future work based on your communication skills alone. So if you're good at communicating, yet you're making mistakes, the client will forgive you. Most clients will forgive you if your communication skills are good. Because if you're making a mistake, some people try to cover it up. Just be honest and tell them that this was the mistake that I made. There was this was the problem. I apologize. However, I will rectify it. This is a better way of just avoiding or not replying to clients, which many freelancers do. Some clients wish to work with one freelancer for a long time and will prefer freelancers that are skilled and keen to actually get the job done as efficiently as possible. So a client will prefer working with a freelancer who can do a task in 1 week, not in 10 days, when there is really no reason why he's taking 10 days. So generally speaking, if a client comes to you and he or she has worked with a previous freelancer, another freelancer, and they have disappointed, they're saying they're slow, you do the work, and that work is done within a week, and that freelancer, the other freelancer was taking 15 days, they're going to prefer you because they will believe you're more efficient. However, that does not mean that you should undervalue yourself. So if you're saving the client's time and you're efficient, you should not be punished for being efficient. You can charge more if you're efficient because you will be saving the client's time. So if you can, like people say that people ask what your hourly rate is. At that time, I usually tell them, why do you want to know about my hourly rate? Should I be punished for completing the work quickly? Like if my hourly rate is $50 per hour and the value of the solution is $1,000, that means I'm doing it in 2 hours. I'm earning $100 for something that I believe is worth $1,000. So I'm being punished for completing something for inside 2 hours when I have the knowledge and skill to do it. I shouldn't be punished for that. So when you're efficient, you can also tell the client that I'm saving your time and your time is valuable. You can say that. Clients value freelancers. Oh, sorry, I've already said that. Most projects fail when freelancers are not serious about completing tasks, miss deadlines, or simply do not communicate well. So again, serious about completing tasks, miss deadlines, or simply do not communicate well. I think the simply do not communicate well thing, that is the most important, because if you don't communicate well, doesn't matter how good you are at your job, you will most likely fail most of your projects. Next slide. Learn to give the client what they want. What does that mean? If the client wants X, give them X. The client wants Y, give them Y. Don't say to the client, what you're asking for is not good. Never say that. Just give the client what they want, and that's it. Nothing more. Give the client what they want. The client is not here to build your portfolio. If what they're asking for example, if you're a graphic designer, what they're asking for a character that is absolutely ridiculous and ugly, and that thing will go in your portfolio, you should not worry about that. Instead, let's see what you can do. If the client knows exactly what they want, give them exactly what they want. Don't tell the client that what you're asking for is not good. Trust me, clients don't like that. Just give them what they want. Instead of having a portfolio that showcases the final product, showcase the process of developing the product or providing the solution in your portfolio. So if you think the product is not good, if you think that you have made a design which is absolutely pathetic, not good to look at, show the process instead. Because clients will know that if they're working with you, they're going to go from step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until they get the result that they want. That is what I as a client want to see. I want to see, if I'm contacting you, how will you do this work? What is the process? How will we reach the final solution? How will we do that? That is what clients are interested in. Clients will not take a look at your portfolio and probably that the design is pretty good, yet you have now not explained how you actually made the design, what you did, what questions you asked, and how you reached this solution, how you provided this solution. Clients want to know your process. If they know your process, if you have a good process, 50% of the deal is closed. Just focus on that. Your process should be good and it should be easy to understand. Clients will be more interested in your success rate than how pretty your portfolio looks. So the client, when the client comes and talks to you, they're going to spend a significant amount of time explaining to you what the project is, what the goals are, and what kind of result the client wants. So they will take a look at your success rate. Now, if you can demonstrate or you can simply show to the client that that 9 out of 10 projects you complete successfully, that is a good sign. They will take more interest in your success rate than your then how pretty your portfolio looks. So if your success rate is good, it means that the client, when they work with you, the risk of failure is low based on your history. Clients will take an interest in your process more than the final product. That is 100% true even for me as a game developer. I'm a video game developer. Most clients talk about the process. They do not look at my previous projects and say, oh, you're a good video game developer. Every client, even for my friends, always say that we came to you because of the video that you posted, which showcases what the process is, and which tells me exactly how you will take me from point A to point B and give me the solution that is required. Learn not to go beyond the sale. The client says, okay, deal, done. Okay, fine, so you're here, okay, fine, but we do this, we do that, don't do that. Just don't go beyond the sale. If the client says, yes, we are doing this for $1,000, basically just keep quiet, start working. That's it. Just stop right there. Resist the urge to say anything which will probably put into the mind of the client that, oh, I think I'm making a mistake. As soon as the sale is complete, as soon as the deal is done, just stop. Don't say anything. Start working. I've seen many people who go beyond the sale. So when the sale is done, they end up saying something, and then they fail. The deal doesn't get closed. The client says, oh, I didn't know that this was also something that we have to consider. This happens a lot. Another thing that you must not do is don't oversell your service. So if the client wants a solution Y, talk about solution Y. Don't try to offer other services before this one is complete. All right, don't oversell it. Don't try to put in extras when they're not really required. Only focus on talking about solutions and problems. Only focus on demonstrating that you are the best person to provide the solution that the client requires. Okay? Avoid appearing persuasive. Don't use the word please. If you have to use the word please, just say, please tell me about the problems that you're currently facing. I want to solve them. Okay? I suggest that we take a look at this solution. I think this will work for you. What do you think about it? What do you think about this solution? Okay, so you like this solution? Okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to provide you the solution. If you like it, we can start working right now. But I'll not say, please hire me because I haven't had a project for such a long time and I need to have a project that I'm just starting out. Don't say things like that. There are many freelancers who say that please hire me, I will do the best I can. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just talk about the problems and the solutions. That's it. Just engage the client. Next slide. Learn the art of rejecting work and firing clients. Okay. I like firing clients a lot, especially when I know that it's going to take away the stress from me. So only accept a job if you believe you can provide a good solution. So now, during the conversation, you find out that the client requires something that you cannot provide. Stop. Don't try to sell your service. If you are certain that this particular part of the project you cannot do, immediately tell the client that I cannot do this. However, I can do the other 80%. Just the 20% I can't do. So can we do this, that you hire another person for the 20% and I can do the rest of the 80%? Is that a possibility? The client might say, I want somebody who can do 100%. At that time you say, good luck, thank you for contacting me. That's it. Don't try to persuade. Just end it right there. Just try your best. I'll do 80%. Somebody else will do the 20%. Why I can't do the 20%? It's because there aren't enough resources on the internet, online or in books. I do not know how to do this. I've never come across this problem before. But that's what you should do. Never let money control you. You were making life work before the client contacted you. So if a client calls, messages you, texts you, you were making life work before the client contacted you. So just because the client says, I've got $2,000, let's get this done. But you know at that time that, oh, I will not be able to do this work properly, I think the client is not going to be a good person to work with. You find that out during the conversation, that he's probably rude or saying things which you don't like. But the $2,000, you need that. You need that for to buy something, or you need that to pay the bills. Well, before the client contacted you, you were making life work somehow. So don't let money control you. I'm not saying that money isn't important. It is. But it is better to save yourself from the stress of working with somebody that you do not want than going for the $2,000 that you may not even receive. If the project fails, you're not going to receive it anyway. And you were making life work before you had the $2,000. So never let money control you. Money is important, just don't let it control you. Reject clients that do not know what they want and are not willing to work with you to get the work done, or refuse to provide any creative input. So I expect my clients to tell me what to do or how to do it, not both of those things. So they can tell me what they want, or they can tell me how to do it. So it's a red flag if they do both. They tell me what to do and how to do it. It means that they don't need me. So they do not need me if they know what they want and they also know how to get it. They only need me if they know what they want but they can't do it themselves, or they tell me how to do something but they do not know what they want. These are the two things that I focus on. So if the client does not know what they want, they're just going to be like, I want a video game that is a 2D side scroller. I ask them, what kind of a side scroller do you need? They say, we don't know, we just want a side scroller. I say, well, I can't help you. You need to know what you want. I need to know what result you're expecting from me. What if I make a 2D side scroller that is also a racing game? Would you accept that? And they'll be like, well, now I'd say we'd want a Mario clone. We want a game that looks like Mario or looks like Street Fighter, let's say. Yeah, now you're telling me what you want. Now you're telling me. Now, not before that. A client comes and says, I want a fighting game. Okay, what kind? There are many fighting games, 3D, 2D. Do you want a fighting game? A jet fighter game is also a fighting game. What fighting game do you want? Tell me. If you do not know what you want, how can I give you something if you do not know what you want? Reject clients that do not know anything about your field and the solutions that you can provide. So I expect clients to have an idea of what kind of result they will get. If the client orders a website, they should know just a few features or how a website works, at least something that they know, that there's supposed to be a navigation bar, there's supposed to be a logo on top, and how websites work, and the importance of being dynamic. That is, if the browser is minimized, maximized, how will the website perform, things like that. And if the client doesn't know, I try to explain it to them. But they should, generally speaking, have a little idea of how websites work and what they're asking for, how it works. Just a little bit. If they do not know anything about what you're providing or what you will provide, don't work with such clients, because you will probably end up spending 80% of your time explaining to them why you're doing what you're doing, which is a waste of time. Learn when to fire a client if you feel that the project will fail anyway due to poor communication, improper definition of scope of work, or bad behavior. So any of these points, if you feel like the project will fail due to poor communication, client does not respond for a month, the improper definition of scope of work, the client does not tell exactly what they want, or bad behavior. So bad behavior, if the client is rude, just fire them. Don't tolerate that. Next slide. Define the scope of work. Now that scope of work, you see, I used caps lock for that because I want you to focus on that. Scope of work is important because you should know what you're doing and what you're being paid for, and the client should know what he is paying you to do. So if the scope of work is not clear, that means that things are vague. The client may include something during the project which was not supposed to be part of the project. They can immediately add that, and then the entire project will go into something called development hell. That is not something that you want. The scope of work should be well defined. I want A, B, C, D, and we are going to do A, B, C, D using these methods. And that's it. If you try to add anything else, I will charge you for that. And there's like no, don't compromise. Don't do that. Only accept work if the client agrees to pay per module. That means that if the project it requires task A, B, C, D, E, F, G to be done, just charge for A and B. Say we are going to do task A and B first. That is a module. That is one module. That is like a module which will fit in to C and D. So we'll work in a modular fashion. So if like for example, if you're writing an article or a paper of some kind, and especially if you're writing an article, say I'm going to write 200 words and I'm going to charge you for that. Then I'm going to write the other 200 words. I'm going to charge you for that. I'm going to complete one chapter, going to charge you for that. I'm going to write the second chapter, going to charge you for that. So that way you will also get an idea of how the client will work with you and whether he is serious about paying you or not. Immediately reject anything that is outside the scope of work unless the client wishes to pay you for the extra work and it doesn't affect the project in any negative manner. So for example, if we have decided that we are going to write a book, chapter 1, chapter 10 chapters, but the client says, I want 11 chapters and this chapter 3 should be in between chapter 2 and 3 right now, so it's going to be 3 and 4 then. You can say, well, I can't do that. I've written the entire book. I've written a book from chapter 1 to 10, and I can't fit another chapter in like that. That's going to ruin the entire book. I can't do that. That's impossible. So you can say that and tell the client, I'm sorry, this is not what we agreed to do. If we do that, even if you pay me, you will end up getting something that you do not want. And I'll have to charge you double because I'll have to change all the chapters based on that new chapter. Next slide. What are the best platforms to start learning new skills? Udemy, YouTube, Coursera, Skillshare, Khan Academy, LinkedIn Learning, edX and Open edX, Teachable. These are the platforms that I use. I use Udemy primarily because Udemy has courses, they're continuously updated, and Udemy is also premium, so I like Udemy. And on YouTube, if you're looking for a specific problem that you want to solve, somebody may have come up with a solution. So you can search for Udemy, so you can search on YouTube for that problem, and hopefully you'll get the results. And YouTube is free, but Udemy is not, but you should only focus on Udemy and YouTube as you can learn new skills, and you can also complete the course and have proof that you have completed that course because they give you a certificate. Next slide. Figure out which platform will work for you. So figure out which platform attracts clients that require the skills that you have. So for example, on Upwork.com, I'm not successful on Upwork.com because the job posts over there are cross posts. So they have posted them on other websites and they also post them on Upwork. They're not serious about hiring game developers on Upwork. They may hire game developers on some other website. You should learn which platform will actually be the best for the skills that you offer. And you can find that out by reading articles or researching on the internet. Consider the workflow of the platforms. So based on your personality type, there are certain platforms that have a workflow that will suit you. Other platforms may have a workflow that does not suit you. For example, if you must have a video call with the client, Upwork is probably the best platform because Fiverr does not allow video calls, but Upwork does. So if for some reason you believe that you cannot explain everything through text, then Upwork is probably the best option for you. Learn how platforms help clients connect to freelancers. Platforms may offer a solution that suits your personality type. So Fiverr has a different way of connecting clients to freelancers. Upwork has a different method. You have to choose one that suits you. On Fiverr, clients find you. On Upwork, you have to find the clients. Consider how many freelancers are already working on a platform and get an idea of their skills. See if you can offer better quality solutions than them. So if you have to get an idea of what freelancers are doing currently on the platform, just take a look at those freelancers, maybe create an order with them or place an order and or just work with them, create something like a fake problem and try to find out what they do. And if you believe you can provide a better solution than them, you can actually copy them and just provide a better solution. It has worked tremendously for some of my friends. Take a look at reviews or simply get a feel of each platform for a period of at least 3 months before deciding to make one platform your main platform. So for me, it took about 5 months, but generally speaking, after working for 3 months, you will get an idea of which platform is working best for you. And that should be your main platform then. The other platforms also work on them, but there should be one main. Next slide. How long does it take to learn a new skill and start earning? You will usually make your first $100 in the first 6 months after you have learned a particular skill. This is totally according to my experience. However, results vary based on your platform. So I said 100 because I'm not a get-rich-quick scammer. The $100 is actually a very good amount in 6 months if you're starting, because you'll be facing a lot of competition. You will not have an established reputation on that platform, so it'll take you about 6 months. I've seen people that find long-term clients on Upwork within the first 6 months that pay them $1,000, $2,000 per month. It happens, but it's rare. Or if you have worked for like some big company and then now you're working on Upwork.com, probably clients will hire you based on that. But generally speaking, $100, the first $100 in the first 6 months is actually good. It's not bad, even though it may seem like that, because after 6 months you might be earning yearly $50,000, $60,000 once you have a reputation built. You may spend up to a year acquiring a new skill, after which you have to start selling it. So you can spend a long time learning a skill, but just spend a year developing a skill. Usually people start after 6 months. As soon as you learn something, try to sell it. So if you have learned a part of something big, just focus on trying to get clients for that part. Sell that skill as quickly as possible. It is a good idea to acquire multiple skills that are somehow related to each other. For example, you can choose to learn logo design along with UX wireframe design. The two are closely related as they use similar tools. So logo design, everybody knows what logo is, but you use Photoshop. So on Photoshop, you can also design wireframes. You can also design backgrounds for games. You can also design characters. So if you're using a tool, learn what you can do using that tool, all of the different things that you can provide. So it should not just be one thing, it should be many. For example, I use the Unity game engine. It can be used for animation, for videos, for 3D modeling, for prototyping, for AR, VR. There's so many things that tool can do. I develop 2D games, 3D games. I develop educational games. So you should know what your tool can do and how many things your tool can do for you. They should be related. So the work that you do should be related somehow, because UX, wireframe, the tools are similar, and also wireframes are used for website design and logos are needed on a website. So that's how they're related. There is no get-rich-quick trick. Some freelancers may be at the right place at the right time and make millions during their first year, whereas the majority start to make a decent living in their third year. That's just me being honest. Next slide. Do you need to work for a company before thinking about freelancing? It depends on your field. A company may help you get an idea of a standard process that the particular industry uses to get work done. So sometimes you need to work for a company to get an idea of the industry standards. Sometimes you need to actually work for a company. You can also simply learn about standard processes without working for a company. This is extremely difficult to do, as resources for that may not be available online. So if you're not working for a company, or you don't want to work for a company, you can still find out what their standard process is, but it's difficult. It really depends on whether you can find it on the internet. There are certain fields that simply require you to work for an organization for some time. So doctors usually need to work at a hospital before they start their private practice. Next slide. How to get my first project. It is recommended that you create an account on Fiverr, Upwork, and Guru to start. Other platforms include People Per Hour, Freelancer.com, and Toptal. The process of getting a project depends on the platform. Fiverr is a platform where clients find you. Upwork is a platform where you need to find clients by sending proposals to clients that have a job posted on their feed. So it really depends. If you're on Fiverr, you may need to respond to something called buyer requests. But on Upwork, you will have a difficult time getting your first project because there might be experienced freelancers with a history that people might consider hiring them instead of you because you have zero history. But on certain platforms, it's easier to get your first job. On other platforms, it's difficult. However, it really depends on what suits you. You have to be quick to respond to a potential client and immediately start talking about the potential client's problems. You can start by asking intelligent questions. So when you start on Fiverr and on Upwork, you have to be very active. So as soon as the client messages you, respond immediately because they might be messaging other people as well. So you want to engage them right then and there. Only talk about the solution that you can offer to the client based upon the answers that the client gives. So this is because the client does not have anything on the platform that will tell them about you. No history, no work history, no success rate, nothing. You can talk about the previous projects that you have done off platform, but they will have nothing, no data on you. So immediately start talking about this, about the problems and the solutions, so that the client understands, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows his stuff. Use a technique called price bracketing, which is just a price range instead of a fixed price. This will help you get an idea of how much the client wishes to spend and may help you engage the client. So instead of saying, okay, I'll develop a website for you for $2,000, you're going to say, okay, so I'm going to develop a website for you. I think the price is going to be between $1,000 to $4,000. It really depends on how much value you require. So let's talk about what you require and how many features you require. And based on that, I'll be able to give you a fixed price. But just to engage the client, between $1,000 to $4,000. The client will say, well, that's a big price range. So what's the difference? You're going to say, if you have this feature, it's going to be $1,200. This feature, $1,800. This feature is going to be $3,000. So you're engaging the clients, you're giving them multiple options, which is a part of selling actually. If you're confident that you can provide a good solution and the client is paying you for the solution according to its value, continue the conversation. So if the client wants a solution that is worth $5,000 but wants to pay you $1,000, just discontinue the conversation. It's not going to be good for you and it's not going to be good for the client either. In fact, the person who is going to do something that is worth $5,000 for $1,000, they will be taking shortcuts. And if they get it done, I mean, the good clients will actually know that this person has taken a shortcut, or this is plagiarized, or this is copied work, which can get the client in trouble, especially if it's he's using something that is licensed. Try to define the first module after defining a scope of work, then attempt to close the deal. So say that, okay, we have 10 tasks, let's do 1 and 2, and this is the price for that, and try to close it right there. Next slide. How to minimize the risk of the project failing. Always provide screenshots, demos, drafts, or test builds to the client as soon as they are ready to, they're ready to get feedback. So as soon as you complete something, take a screenshot or give the entire file to the client, get their feedback as quickly as possible, because if they don't like something, they'll tell you immediately that they don't like this and they want this to change. If you're not clear about what to do, ask the client about what to do. So if you do not know what you should do, just ask the client. Learn how to ask. Just ask them, listen, I do not know what we should do here. What should we do? Instead of trying to figure out yourself, just ask the client. They will answer the question if they're not bad clients. If you feel directionless, ask the client for direction and talk about possible ways to complete a module. So if during a module you feel like you do not know what to do next, ask the client what we should do next, and then talk to the client about the possible ways to get around this problem, if there is one. Make sure that the client approves drafts, demos, screenshots, or test builds, and keep a reference of that approval in text form as a screenshot or in a video form. So if the client approves task A and B, save it somewhere. So the client doesn't, if the client comes back and says, wait a second, I never approved that, you can say, well, you did. So we're not going to do this again. So that's it, it's done, it's finished. You're not going to talk to me about this again. Make sure, I've already done that. If you feel like a module isn't well defined, tell that to the client and make sure that it is well defined before starting it. So if you feel that task A and B, there is something that you don't understand, tell the client, I don't understand this, we're not going to start this project unless you tell me what this is. We have to make it crystal clear what this is. Always provide daily updates to the client and try to make a video of the work done and send it to the client to keep the client up to date. This explained itself. So when you have made a video of the work, the client knows what you have done, and then ask the client, do you like what you see here? If you don't, tell it to me right now. I'm not going to come back and correct this or make any changes. So that's what you should learn to do. Next slide. And we're done. So now we're going to move to the question and answer session, and we can also do a little bit of role play if somebody wants to do some role play, and that's it.
Assalamu alaikum. Very fruitful session. Sir, my question, you are totally about ask freelancing is effective and the great way how to freelancing. But you didn't know about ask to how to create an account and how to get a money procedure. Please tell me about how to create account.
It depends on the platform. So every platform is a different sign-up procedure and a validation procedure. And then you need to probably have a Payoneer account to receive money from the platform. However, this is how to start. So I cannot tell you all the platforms how you sign up for them because the process is different. So some platforms require validation with an ID card, some don't. Some ask you to tell your location, some don't. Fiverr.com does not. When you create a platform, they automatically detect where you're making the account from. So the process for every platform is different. So I cannot generalize that. Things that I cannot generalize, I can't talk about them. But sign up process, like you sign up on Facebook, it's exactly the same thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sir, I have a question that we are talking about communication skills with client. So can you tell about more communication tactics and strategies with clients? Because I have tried a lot of time, but I got failure.
All right.
So thank you so much.
All right. So okay. What do you provide?
Yeah, I'm a content writer.
Content writer.
But
okay.
I have work on Facebook and Instagram, but it's my first time on Upwork. So I got lots of clients, but always I just failed because of my communication skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a content writer. What kind of content do you write?
Yeah, I read about history and I have research papers like on trend topics. You can say
Okay.
as, yeah.
You're a client. I'm a content writer. Okay. You're a client that I've given you a proposal, or you're contacting me. I'm a writer. Okay. Right now I'm a writer.
Okay.
So you're the client. You ask me something, or I've proposed. Okay, so you're looking for the solution. I'm a con. You're looking for. Okay, so you want me to write about the history of Pakistan. Can you tell me exactly what you want me to write about the history of Pakistan?
Yeah, you will write for history for me about the issues that happens in past that
All right.
change our today's situations, political situations.
Okay, and what will your target audience be? So as far as I can tell, you want to know exactly what happened in the past that is now affecting our future. So my question is that if you want me to write about this, what is your target audience? Who will this article be written for?
The article for the people who are, like politics and mostly using social media to entertain them with politics. So I'm writing article for them.
No, so I'm a little confused right now. You want me to write about entertain? This is going to be an article to entertain people. So it's not going to be a serious article for information. It's supposed to be for entertaining people.
Yeah, it's for entertain people who loves politics.
Okay, so it's for entertaining people that love politics. Okay, so now what I understand is that you want me to write an article for you based on based on Pakistan's history in a funny manner, presented in an entertaining way, so that we can entertain people that also like politics, and we can have a little bit of jokes from here and there, and some of the mistakes that people have made in the past. Does that sound fair?
Yes, I got.
Okay, so fine. How many words do you want for this article?
It depends on you, because it will be a maximum like 500 words, or for like 200 words, between 200 to 500 words.
Okay, so what do you think will provide the most value to your audience, 500 or 200 words?
I think so it will be best for them to 200 words,
200 words. So you want a short article with some jokes and something funny which will entertain people.
Yes.
All right, fine. I can do it between $2 to $10. What do you think the value of your article should be? Because based on what you say right now, between $2 to $10, I'll have to use my resources based on that. So tell me.
It should be near to $7 or $8.
$7 to $8, fine. What I can do is right now I can work on like say 50 to 50 words right now. I'll work on that. It'll be the first draft. Once I give it to you, you can tell me whether the direction is incorrect, whether the direction is correct or not. If it's incorrect, we can talk about what direction we should take from here. Does that sound fair?
Yes, that sounds fair.
Fine, let's work on it.
Thank you.
My question is about you said you should be you should be a good seller. Can you suggest some techniques in start that how you should improve as a good seller?
Okay, so sir, excuse me. You basically I was selling to you right now. Did you take note of that? I use price bracketing.
Yes.
Then I asked the client
Yes,
what
yes.
the solutions are, what he
Yes,
requires. That was part of sales. So what is the question that what specifically do you want me to answer in that sales tactics? I used price bracketing. I asked the client what I will provide, how I will provide it, and
Okay.
what are the tactics that I will use to provide the solution that that the client requires. So what specifically do you want me to answer?
I mean, I think this is a communication. This is
It was sales.
You should be good at communication
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah.
And any other one?
Well, price bracketing, like I said,
price
$2
bracket.
to $10. Then he answered me, so I said, okay, we'll do like the 50 words first. Let's see if the direction. I engaged him.
Okay.
So basically, I've engaged the client. Now I know for certain that he is working with me, and now it really depends on whether we can connect after that.
Okay.
Whether probably I'd send the 50 words. The client says, no, this is not what we're looking for. Then I'll say, okay, fine. You go your way. I'll go mine.
The one thing which is, where Indians, they have edge over Pakistanis because the export, for instance, the export of Indian software values like $130 billion a year, whereas Pakistan stands at only $2 billion a year. It's a heck of a difference. India is 6 times bigger than Pakistan. They should be selling like software worth 12 billion, if we go by that proportion.
By the proportion.
But they, it's so. But a lot of people say that Indians have success, and especially the freelancers and the online service providers. They have success they have more success than Pakistanis do because they can speak better English. Okay. Now the problem is, I'm asking a question, but in a way I'm also answering it. So I hope you won't mind that. Okay. Now the thing is that a lot of people, I've seen a lot of rhetoric going around, like national identity, like Urdu, make Urdu our, everything, like we should be proud of our language, and maa boli Punjabi sanu bolni chahiye, Punjabi is gal karo. Instead of going, what I have seen, the makeup of this society is that instead of progressing, it's a regressing society. We talk more about things which have no use, no practical use when we come to international markets. an average Indian and or an average Sri Lankan or even a Bangladeshi can converse better in English than an average Pakistani can. What are your comments?
Yes, it's true.
Okay.
It's basically because the Indians, they basically, as far as I can tell, they believe that they have to work with the world. The world will not work with them. That's what I believe. They basically, and they also have this mindset that the client, they say that client is like, they give them the highest, they have tremendous respect for clients. Whereas sometimes some of the people that I have worked with during freelancing is that they kind of don't respect the client enough. They basically treat the client as a person, as just a transaction. They don't really care about whether the solution is good or not. They try to take shortcuts, whereas Indians, they give like massive respect to their clients, and they I've not used that word, but they actually call their clients something. I'm not going to use that over here. But they give a very high on a very high pedestal to their clients.
Yeah, but we were discussing more about communication only. So for communication,
so they do whatever. Yeah, so whatever they do, they'll do everything that will basically give the client a good experience. That is also, communication is also part of that.
So the medium is language.
English,
If we have to go with the world, we better do not talk. Tell me if I'm wrong. We better do not talk about regressive things, about traditions, about conventions, things like that. That's our language. We should be proud. No, we like you said, that the world, we have to go with the world. World will not go with us.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, Altamush, for a very interesting presentation. We learned so much new things about how to start freelancing and what are the issues we need to handle to become a successful freelancer. I would talk about the general attitude or perception or societal approach towards the freelancing. The question if you talk about our society, the major question is not about those who have actually already started freelancing and how they are progressing. Definitely, they need our support and the guidelines from all those people like you have succeeded in the field. If you talk about the general attitude, many of us, everybody has a friends. I do have some friends who always talk about starting freelancing. They would be talking about, let's start freelancing. We have skills. We are accountants. We can do this thing, that thing. We should start freelancing instead of having a 9-to-5 job, even late sitting. So do something for ourselves. But if you meet them 5 months later, they again say same thing. We should start freelancing, do these things, those things. But they do not start. So the first thing is, what's the issue? What you would say? What would be your advice? Why we think about all the innovations or the change which is coming in the world, but we do not start freelancing? I don't know it may be the behavioral issue, or what there may be the issue that we think that we can't do these things. If you meet 100 people, they think about starting freelancing. Out of 100, 30 to 35 actually start freelancing. And this is also, I think, our behavioral issue. Whenever we start anything, we think that we should, from the next day we should have a client, a project. And out of 30 to 35 people, just 5 to 10 succeed and rest don't. As you said, it requires around 5 to 6 months, even for people like you, to make initial $100. So what would be your advice for those who think to start freelancing but they don't, and for those who have started, have to go to follow which way, at least with the patience, they will should continue and progress in their field?
I believe the question is that what should drive them to that's what the question is, that if somebody wants to start freelancing, I'll ask them why. do you want to start freelancing? Based on their answer, I'll be able to basically tell them whether they should or what they should do. But generally speaking, I have spoken about what you need to do before freelancing, before thinking about freelancing, and your question seems to be about your friends that I do not know about. So I can't really tell what is stopping them from starting, but what I can assume is that they have nobody to guide them. That's what I can assume, or nobody who can tell them that, okay, however, it's a process. You're not going to start earning immediately. This is the process. Let's work on this first. Let's work on the things. Let's work on what services are in demand. And after that, let's take a look. Probably freelancing is not for us. We should go with an open mind. We take a look at things. We figure out that this is not for us. We should stick to our jobs. You have to take a look at these things first, because even though I am a freelancer, I'll be honest, it hasn't stopped me from the idea of probably working for a company at some time. It's not that I'm a freelancer right now, but I still, if I see a job opportunity, I do apply just because I keep an open mind. So if you want to start freelancing, there is a chance that you find out that freelancing is not for you. You will have to continue doing your work that you're doing right now. Since I do not know your friends, I cannot be very specific.
Basically, I was asking, telling about the general perception of our society.
All
If
right.
you would ask anybody in this room, everyone would have the same kind of story. Everyone has friends. They think to go for freelancing, but they don't.
Okay, so how many of you would like to be freelancers? If I tell you that sometimes you have to work more than 9 to 5, sometimes you have to work maybe 16, 17 hours a day, develop extremely bad health problems, and give up your social life for the next 3 years. Yeah. So see, 2 people already said no. So that's the thing. That is how I can. Yeah. No. But you see, when I started freelancing, now I didn't look. For 6 months, I didn't take a look at the sun. For 6 months at one time, because I used to work during US timings. I didn't go out in the sun for 6 months. That's true. That's a sacrifice you have to make. I don't recommend starting freelancing unless you're very hungry, you want to be a millionaire, billionaire, you just love earning and providing solutions. First, you love providing solutions to a number of different people. Like, you don't want to work for one person, you want to work for many people and provide good solutions and enjoy the feeling of your bank account numbers rolling when the money comes in. That is what you should enjoy.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. One thing, sir, you mentioned that first of all, I want to ask that why do you want to start freelancing? So most of the people, the answer is that they want to do it like as a profession for their earning.
Right.
So in this context, then what are your views, sir?
Profession for earning?
Yes, means
You mean like being self-employed?
yes, sir.
No, if your sole reason is to be self-employed, then you also have to be ready to, you have to first of all ask yourself, if you want to be self-employed, why do you, you can employ yourself, but will you be providing the solution that people actually need? So if you are, for example, a content writer, you have to ask yourself whether people actually need the content that you can provide. So what I would say is that you should think about starting your own business, which is basically when you're a freelancer, you are a business owner, essentially. You have to ask yourself, do you want to become a freelancer just because you want to be self-employed? If that is
Independent, yes.
Yeah, if that is the answer that you give to yourself, then I don't suggest you start freelancing. That is not a good enough reason. The best reason is that people want the solution that you provide, and you can get a significant amount of money for that. That should be the main reason, not just self-employed. You can be self-employed, I don't know, selling burgers. I mean, that's self-employed.
If you share, sir, if you don't mind, if you share your current earnings, so that may
3,000 in a bad month, 10,000 on a good month.
Thanks.
I just wanted to ask, wouldn't it be better that the money just remains in the Payoneer account, so that it remains in dollars and does
You
not
remember
get-
the Wirecard issue that happened on Payoneer, where every money the money froze?
No.
Have money in multiple accounts. That's my advice. When the Wirecard, Wirecard, the fraud, the $2 billion fraud that happened in Wirecard, Payoneer was linked to Wirecard. People had their money frozen for about a week. Mine was included in that. So just have your money in various accounts, not just one. When they go insolvent or things like that happen, it can be a problem. Your money can basically freeze and it can take months for you to get it back. Just know how money works and how the world works, how banks work. Even banks can go bankrupt. Keep that in mind. Listen, it'll be a huge advantage if you ask questions, because this is like, ask as many questions as you can, because we can also role play, like I role played with him.
Sir, I have one more question. Sir, can you tell more about the model that we will present the first time to take a project from a client?
You should have a video that describes your process. You don't need to explain it every time. Like, have a video. Step 1, we do this. Step 2, we do this. Step 3, we do this. Step 4, you get the result. Then we repeat from step 1 until the project is complete.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the session. I would like to ask that what are the chances of getting scammed or any fraudulent freelancers or clients? So is there any chances in these websites, or would you like to suggest us some safe websites?
Fiverr is safe, Upwork is safe. There are scams on every website. There are scams even on Facebook right now.
Yes.
There are scams on every website. You just have to scammers, what they do is, like Indian scammers, and there are many Indian scammers. Indians, what they do is they say that pay us first, then we will work. That is most of the time they're scammers. I've seen many accounts get banned when I was a client. I needed to get some work done because I couldn't handle all the projects that were coming. So I hired people, and some of them were asking for like $2,000 up front. That is a scammer. His account got banned 1 week after that.
So how do we know that this person is like not a scammer and not fraudulent? So based on his profile, what do we want to see? Like he's a legit person and he can help us.
Okay. So I had a project which was supposed to be created in something called Phaser. It is a framework. So a Nigerian freelancer contacted me and said he can do this. So I said, how will you do this? What is the process? He said, just trust me, sir. What do you think? Was he a scammer or not?
That seems like a scammer.
He got his account banned.
Okay.
Yeah. He wouldn't have completed the task. He just said, trust me. So if they're not describing the process, if they're not explaining to you how they will do things, they're most likely a scammer. If they ask for money up front, unless they are telling you why they will use it and for what purpose, then it is a scam. Like, for example, I sometimes ask for clients for money up front because I have to buy stuff. So what I do is I ask the client that I need this money so I can buy this stuff. I'm going to give it to him as soon as I buy it. So when they give me the money, I give it to them. So that I have to explain why I'm asking for money up front.
Yes, sir. So let me get this straight. Like, if we want to know that this is a legit person, so we can know from his communication and the details he provides. So that is based on the communication between the client and the freelancer.
Yes.
That
exactly.
is the point.
Another thing is that I hired an Indian once for a picture. Now I don't remember what that picture was. But I asked the client for an update. I asked the freelancer for an update, and they did give an update, but they gave a file which didn't work. So that guy was a scammer because he was giving a file which did not work. It was just an empty file. It was very strange. It was a JPEG, but there was nothing in that JPEG. So I canceled the project with him. And I do not know whether his account is still like on Fiverr or not. I know other scammers as well. Like a Pakistani once, what he did is he basically inside of his code gave code, like the code that C# script, which is a programming thing. He wrote his number inside the code and he gave it to me. So if a person is trying to get you off the platform, that is also a sign of a scam. So the communication should be kept on the platform, even on Upwork. Upwork has this policy too. because if there's a dispute, they can come in as a third party and say what you're doing is wrong. So if they're trying to take you off the platform, there are scammers, and try to have a third party involved all the time. And you have no idea how many times Fiverr has saved me from bad clients and from people that are.
Fiverr is the good website.
No, Fiverr it depends on what suits you. I'll never say that one platform is good, because for some people, Upwork has helped them buy Mercedes and earn a very decent living. I mean, I cannot say that one platform is good. It depends on your personality type and what suits you.
Type of work.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So we have a few questions from our online user named Stalwart Neophyte.
Okay.
First comment from him and then questions. He remarks, our Urdu is not good either. Actually, we are pretty bad at learning anything thoroughly. We always look for shortcuts. Like with freelancing, people consider it is a free money without realizing that first they have to train themselves and put their heart and soul to make themselves a brand and earn money. And I think you already highlighted that point very well. Now he asks, some people are not good at using English, so they lack in communication. How to overcome that deficiency?
For me, what worked was that I had friends who were good at English, and I asked them, caring friends, that asked them to talk to me in English, and at least I became fluent. So that's what worked for me. I can only share what worked for me. Other methods I don't know. I don't think Udemy courses or any kind of course can help you. If you're not good at something, do more of it, practice it, and you'll be good at it. Like my wrestling coach says, if you're not good at wrestling, wrestle more. You'll be fine. You'll get better.
And better write in English rather than in Roman while chatting or texting.
Yes.
Second question from him. Udemy charges for the courses. Are those self-paced and available offline, or they have some expiry?
No, most of them have lifetime access, but you will not be able to download those videos. My course, which is going to be released hopefully within the next 2 months, I will make sure that all the videos can be downloaded, because I'm a guy who likes the users to be free, so they can do whatever they want with the videos.
Say question. People use the term hook regarding job proposals. Can you shed some light on what kind of hooks can be used, or say some example of hooks, for example, about your gaming gig?
How I write proposals is that I don't use hooks in my proposals. My proposals are just one line. No, literally they are one line. When in job detail, when I read the job details, I ask a question. I don't even write a proposal. I don't think proposals work. I believe in statements of work, and my proposals on Upwork are just 1 or 2 lines, and it's remarkable how many people respond to those. Just questions. So I don't use hooks. My hook is basically, I keep the client engaged by talking about the problems and recommending solutions and trying to figure out what solution the client values the most.
The last question from Mr. Stalwart Neophyte. What's your opinion about digital marketing? Will you categorize it in freelancing, and is it more about communication and selling? So again, learn communication and sales become more important. Your comments.
Digital marketing, freelancers can be digital marketers. We can offer digital marketing as a freelancer. But as far as I can tell, digital marketing, you are more of a contract-based employee if you're a digital-based marketer, as far as I can tell, because you will be working for a very long time for one particular one organization for a very long time. Like in digital marketing, you cannot jump from one client to another because it's a long process, as far as I can tell. I don't know much about digital marketing, but I do know is that digital marketers usually have 2 or 3 clients that they work with again and again. So it's like you're basically at that point you're kind of like a contract-based employee. instead of a full-time one. Thank you very much.